AMC stock could be setting up for a very explosive Tuesday. Yeah, let's go ahead and break this down. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and source your comments, questions, or concerns down below in the comment section if you have any. I'm sure a lot of you guys do, so let me know down below in the comment section. So, first things first, I'm not going to beat around the bush. We're going to go ahead and get straight into it. Why could Tuesday be a very important day? Well, you're not going to hear this from other people, because a lot of people are bearish on AMC. All of a sudden, they turned bearish a long time ago, and they've been bearish ever since. Some people that haven't talked about AMC are now talking about AMC again. Well, we don't trade on Monday. Something happened on Friday. And something's happening with the FTDs that you should know. So, per the T+35 settlement time, on Monday, September 4th, 7.7 million FTDs come due. On Tuesday, September 5th, 6.9, almost 7 million FTDs come due. So the FTDs from Monday are now going to come due on Tuesday. So you're going to be looking at an almost 17 million FTD day. Now, these are aggregate numbers, so it does not mean all of them have to, all 15 million have to be closed out coming on Tuesday, but it's a fair possibility that a percentage of them will be. And that could be some buying pressure, as you guys do know. And we haven't really seen that this time around with the FTDs as much. We did initially, once the FTDs started to spike, back here in the beginning of August, or really I should just say after we seen the split kind of get announced, you kind of dropped and then you started to bounce back. But even from the beginning of August, over the next kind of 2 weeks in this 2-week trading period, AMC stock actually went up a fair amount. AMC stock actually went from about $41 per share to a high of about $48 per share. Now, I know it's not the craziest rally we've ever seen, but it was some upside price action. So now we have a lot of FTDs coming due again, specifically on Tuesday. That could be great. But what I think is a little bit more encouraging is the option activity that we've seen this past week on AMC stock, specifically around the $13 strike. So the $13 call, we still have this data here. On Friday, had 10,769 calls come due. The $13 put, or that expired in the money, maybe is a better way to put it. At the $13 put, we had 9,466 puts that expired out of the money. So this is about 2 million definitive shares that need to be bought by the market makers or need to be de-hedged for. Obviously, on the call side, it's bought. On the put side, it's de-hedged for, which is a complicated way of saying shares need to be bought by the market makers on the put side as well. So that's a more definitive. When you add some of the FTD numbers together, well, that could make Tuesday potentially an explosive day. Doesn't have to happen that way. A lot of the time when you have the best setups for AMC, what happens? Well, the manipulation really shines those days. And call it a coincidence, call it targeted. I'm sure you guys have your own opinions, and you don't need to hear mine. It's targeted. So that's always something to keep in mind as well. But all things considered, there's millions of shares that need to be bought on AMC stock coming on Tuesday. Now, I think the thing we really need to be watching out for the most, that's going to have the biggest positive effect on AMC stock, is actually the thing that has been causing the stock to fall in the first place. It could very well happen this week where AMC comes out and they confirm that they have raised capital. This capital raise is what everyone has been fearing. That's why AMC stock is down 80%. Now, there's obvious other reasons like the shorts and all of that we'll get into here in this video. But that's the, I guess, psychological thing that is going on. That's why AMC stock has dropped 80%. They're very bold at this point. They're just shorting the stock to short the stock. There's no real short thesis with AMC at these levels. The average analyst price target is $20 per share. The stock was trading as low as $10 per share. There's absolutely no regard for if AMC does rally. That looks so far out of the stratosphere of possibilities according to the shorts and their actual activities than anything else. I mean, the shorts have really gotten the short interest high here. We've talked about it before, and I'll talk about it again. The short interest on August 15th, the exchange reported short interest number that we got was 29.25%. That was back here when AMC stock was $30 per share. Again, the stock hit a low of almost $10 even per share. There is no way in hell the short interest went down. So at the bare minimum, you're in the 30s. More logically speaking, more conservatively, I think, you're in the 40% range. On the higher end range, you're 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100+% short. With all of these FTDs out there, it wouldn't surprise me if you're actually 90% short, like some platforms have suggested, like Fidelity and a couple others as well. So that's where things really psychologically change. So if you're someone with Ortex, which I do recommend you guys get, if you don't, it's like $600 a year. It's not too bad. The short interest of free float apparently is 10.6%. No, it's not. You are about to see a massive jump once we get the next exchange reported short interest, which the release date was August 24th. The next release date should be on September 9th. So let's go ahead and actually see. I believe that's not this week. Yeah, that's going to be on Saturday. So it might be actually next Tuesday that you get the official reported short interest number. With the holiday, it could be on Friday. That's a possibility. I don't know really how that factors into it. Either Friday, Monday, or Tuesday of this Friday, upcoming Friday, or Monday or Tuesday of the following week. That's when I think things are going to get a lot more interesting for AMC as far as attention with a short squeeze. I mean, 10% short interest, that don't excite anyone. But that's not possible. Those are not real numbers. Keep that in mind. But when AMC does announce they've raised capital, the one thing that apparently everyone has been fearing will likely cause a big upside move. A kind of counter trend rally, if you will, because everyone's been fearing it. The stock is sold off. Now, when AMC does raise capital, investors are going to say, hey, AMC just raised a lot of capital. They're probably not going to raise capital for quite a bit of time. This is the peak bearishness. That's where a lot of these hedge funds and institutions maybe not cover on short positions, but maybe start to hedge out those short positions. Maybe start to buy themselves some shares on the side, or even buy themselves some calls, which is also, you know, a bullish form of buying pressure. So that's kind of what I'm expecting. Maybe this week, maybe next week. I don't think AMC expected their share price to drop this much. To be honest, I don't think AMC thought that was going to happen after their split, but it did. So I don't necessarily think they should raise capital at these prices, but it wouldn't surprise me if they did, is kind of the best way to put it. So go ahead and keep that in mind. Once that news comes out, that's more than likely not a negative catalyst, because you've already priced in so much dilution with the 80% drop in AMC shares. So let me know what you guys think about that down below in the comment section. I do think that's kind of one of those things we can't predict. We don't know when that news is going to come out. We know it will eventually, and when it does, it's going to be very bullish for AMC stock, at least in my personal opinion. Now, the rest of the short interest data over here on Ortex, you have a short score of 74. $223.5 million worth of short positions currently in AMC stock. You got to take this data with a grain of salt. Until we get the official short interest report, none of these numbers are going to make any sense. Estimated short interest of free float at 12.62%. Free float out on loan sitting at 16.14%. Shares out on loan 25.47 million. That's almost half of the float. Again, that doesn't make a lot of sense. Days to cover 3.9. Cost to borrow at 9.56%, and utilization of 75%. Cost to borrow fees have been something that has really stumped me recently. I don't know what happened or if these numbers are true at all. You're getting cost to borrow fees in the range of 10 to 12% on any given day, 13% on a good day. You were at 90+% initially after the reverse split. So I don't really know what happened with cost to borrow fees. I don't know if these numbers are true or not. But odds are they're probably not, considering you don't usually go from 900, or really 740 was the last reading we got August 25th, down to 18% overnight. Usually something really has to happen to change that, but that's kind of what we're getting as far as the numbers. Now, if you look at the Stocko Tracker data, we talked about this in the last video as well. The Stocko Tracker page is acting very strange, but you are seeing more calls for next week that are currently in the money than puts in the money, and that should also be good as AMC stock does go higher. A lot of those calls are pretty cheap, so when those calls are cheap, it makes that break even a lot closer to the money, and potentially means market makers have to hedge out their positions a lot more. Easiest way to think about this is if you're buying calls on a stock that has fallen 80% recently, if you get a bounce in the stock, I mean, you're not going to have to see a big bounce to make money on those options, right? So think about it in that regard, I guess. Now, if you take a look at some of the dark pool data that we have been seeing recently, anywhere from 60% to 45, kind of 50% has been where we have been recently. A lot of the time you're higher in the 60% range rather than not. Some 64% days in here, 65% days, 68% day right here, and you're seeing millions of shares actually trading hands. When you look at the short exempt volume, that is 281,000 as well, and that did occur on September 1st. Now, with all of this information out the way, the RSI is oversold, the MACD is extremely bearish. These things just really can't get much more bearish. And consider even on Friday, AMC stock was up 4.38% in after hours. It's a pretty good sign heading into an extended trading week. So that should be good as well. We definitely closed the week with more momentum than we started the week. That is for sure. And again, it's one of those things where it doesn't even matter the news that we have gotten recently, like the Taylor Swift pre-ticket sale or advanced ticket sales being at a new record for AMC. Doesn't even matter. It hasn't even affected AMC stock. AMC stock did not trade off that at all on Thursday. Friday it might have had some kind of impact in a positive way, as you guys can see, but the stock is really not reacting to anything. It's so heavily shorted right now. The people that are short cannot allow this thing to move higher, and when it does, because it ultimately will, it's just fundamentally undervalued at this point. Let's be honest. The market cap of AMC, let's go ahead and take a look at the market cap here. It says 2 billion. Last we seen the market cap was about 900 million, so yeah, that doesn't look accurate at all. It says 158 million shares outstanding. So if those numbers are accurate, AMC already raised 100 million shares of capital, which none of these numbers look right. But even at less than $1 billion market cap, I mean, it's not really the most expensive stock fundamentally. So you can actually even start to talk about fundamentals here. Like, do the fundamentals even make sense to where AMC stock is? I would make the argument that probably not, especially after they raise capital. So that's kind of what I have for you here in this video. Again, the important levels are $12.15 per share, roughly where we bottomed here just even on Friday as well. You really want to stay above $12 per share. A move under 12 would not be great. Probably sends you back to that $10.50, $11 range. That $12 kind of $11 level probably wouldn't last too long. It's just not enough solid support right now. But $12, $12.50 specifically, those are important levels. On the upside, $15 per share is going to be a big psychological level. I don't think it's going to be too hard to ultimately break out above that, and I still expect a bounce to the mid-20s relatively soon. That would be a move to the upside of about 100%, but I think once the MOS actually does happen, you're in for obviously much bigger gains than that, guys. So that is going to do it for this video. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and source your comments, questions, or concerns down below in the comment section. You guys have a great rest of your weekend, and I will see you in the next one.